Hey there, lovely people. Welcome to Be Your Best You with Tash and Becky, your go-to hangout for all things spiritual, subconscious, and downright magical. We're here to sprinkle a little mystical wisdom into your everyday life and help you level up your reality.
Picture this as your cosmic coffee date, where we chat about the unseen world, blend in some psychology vibes and stir up the subconscious magic. Get ready to be the queen of your own reality, live a life that lights you up and have a blast doing it.
So grab your latte or your tea and let's dive into another episode of Be Your Best You, where the mystical meets the mundane and your best life awaits.
Cheers to creating magic together.
Let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of Be Your Best You with Tash
And Becky.
How are we all today? We have an episode today all about control. Why you are a control freak. And we're going to tell you why. I know, it's so harsh. Just accusing everybody today of being control freaks. But it's a good thing because some people can say, oh my God, yeah, I'm an absolute control freak. Yeah. Like sometimes you're consciously aware of it. Yeah. And you know, everyone knows, you know. But, and potentially we probably all have a little bit of that, some more than others, but we all have a little bit of it where we know we're like, oh yeah, a bit control there. But there is so much on a subconscious level that I see when working with people, and that we're going to discuss something because it's kind of something that's relevant, that's come up for you recently. On a subconscious level, there's so much control at play. And actually, really, what it turns out is that everything is running on a level of control.
Yes.
And it really hinders, well, it's the cause of all your issues, all your behaviours that you don't like. You know, it's the cause of everything. And it really comes down to the cause of fear, and we're going to discuss this in more detail in this episode. So I really hope this one, again, like I feel like the last few episodes of ours, I feel like they're kind of like being a bit enlightening, like hopefully opening you up to seeing yourself in a different way, because that's when you can make change, isn't it? Like that's the whole premise of my work. I'm trying to help people see themselves in a way that they've never seen before, because that's what enables you to change, doesn't it? So again, our intention for this episode is to help you see yourself as the control freak that you really are, so that you can stop being a control freak, because we're going to give you ways to start thinking the opposite of that, and things that you can do, and what beliefs you need to hold, and how you need to go about your world so that you can release this control and actually enjoy your flipping life. Simple as that, isn't it? Yeah. So do you want, seeing as this is kind of, this was a realization you had, well, we were speaking about it probably last week or something, weren't we?
Yeah.
And so maybe if you discuss that, people can be like, oh, that sounds familiar, and then we can say where we kind of took the conversation after that.
Yeah, well, I just think like quite a lot of my issues that have come up over the last couple of years all seem to have come back down to feeling out of control in some way. But of course, you don't realise that, do you, at the time when you're so focused on the problem, you think that is the problem. And when you can dig a bit deeper and get to where it's really coming from, for me anyway, it seems to be coming from a place of feeling out of control. And I would not have thought myself as any kind of control freak or anything like that. So again, it sounds harsh. You sort of like, you run away from that, don't you? And you think, no, I'm not a control freak. I let people do what they want to do. But certainly, like I've spoken about in the past with like the kids and mental health, you know, and how that was coming from a place of feeling out of control because I couldn't control other people's thoughts and emotions and things like that. So I've learned that. That was a big one. But now I'm able to sort of put it into practice for any other issues that are coming up for me. So they're obviously are smaller issues than these mental health problems that we were having. So shall I give my little example with the computer? So just an everyday sort of, me and my husband, we both seem to get quite anxious, I've realised, over things to do with the computer. And my son had gone online and wanted to start selling things, and it was all to do with putting the credit card details online, la da la da da, that, you know, I just wanted to do to please my son, but my husband did not want to put credit card details on this site. And anyway, we've had similar incidences like that before, and it's just turned into a big old horrible argument. You don't get anywhere. And it was like a reoccurring thing when things like this would happen. And it was just like, we're both just so anxious about it. But what I realised, so when this one came up just this week, I thought, where is this coming from? Why do I feel so anxious about this? Like in the pit of my stomach. Why is this causing me so much anxiety? And I realised, it's because I don't feel in control of this, because I don't understand it. I don't like it. I feel out of control. So what we do, so he obviously his anxieties are, I don't know, maybe coming from a different place to mine, because he does understand it, but that's my point of view. But we're like perpetuating each other's anxiety with this. So I thought, okay, so this is where it's coming from for me. So what do I need to do here? Because I could feel it brewing. I knew it was coming. So this is what I was able to sort of figure out in my head. So I thought, what I wanted was for him to make me feel calm, because I was out of control. I don't understand it. You make me feel calm, right? Then it will be okay. Because he can't do that, because he's allowed to feel anxious too, obviously. So I realised, well, I need to be the calm. That's what I need. No one else is going to give it to me, so I will be the calm. So I just kept saying that in my head. You are the calm. I sort of saw a lighthouse, like you do sometimes. Like, I'm just going to guide everyone, and I'm just going to be calm in the storm, and blah, blah. And I thought of it as a little experiment as well, just to see if that is what it is, you know. So I could feel his anxiety building, and where that would have then got me shouting and all of that. I just put my hand on his, on his shoulder, and just like rubbed his back and said, it's okay. It's fine. And where we would have been starting to squabble, and he just went quiet, and I just kept my hand on his back as he was doing it, which it was all fine. He's going to sort it all out. That's all good. But I just kept saying in my head, it's okay. Everything is calm. Everything is peaceful. And he just went quiet, and he got on and sorted out what he had to do, because we had to return someone's money. He sold something. Teenagers. Thanks, Harry. So he sorted it all out. And, he turns and he says, oh, I'm sorry, I got a bit shouty there. And I was like, it's okay, it's fine.
Unheard of, by the way, in these patterns before.
Because we're both blaming each other for making each other feel more anxious about the whole situation. So now it's not about that problem, is it? It's about you shouting at me.
Exactly. It's like, now I'm offended. Me feel this way. You should have made me feel calm, and now you're making me feel worse. And then he's thinking, and you're winding me up and making me feel worse. What's going on? And it's just in this pit, isn't it?
That's right. And once I realised, that's just an everyday squabble, isn't it? That's so common.
And that can be common to end, not about any subject, but that same thing going on.
And I would never have thought that came from me feeling out of control. And because I want someone to make me feel calm, because I feel out of control, and no one's going to do that. And once I did it with my little mantra in my head and just trying to put out that energy, it flips everything. We would have probably not spoken for days. And it's absolutely all fine, all done, dusted, all good. So what a difference. And I would never have put that down to feeling coming from a place of the control. Because I just think, well, I'm an innocent person here. I've been dragged into this. Somebody make me feel calm. I don't understand it. What do we do? Where's this money going? Oh, I don't like it. So interesting that it seems, for me anyway, it seems to apply to a lot of the things that I've got going on.
Yeah.
It's because I can't remain calm,
mm-hmm.
because I'm feeling out of control.
Mm-hmm. So that's such a great example, isn't it? Because I'm sure, like we said, everybody can, though it might not be about that subject, everyone's going to be able to relate to that whole feeling of like you're with another person, and you're kind of like bouncing back and forth with your old arguments, and they're making you feel a certain way and you're making them feel a certain way, and then it always ends the same way, doesn't it? And what you did there is you broke the pattern. You did something different. You stepped out of yourself, you looked at yourself objectively, asked yourself, what am I feeling, how am I feeling this, why is this, all in the space of you actually having these like big feelings, and you did something different which produced a different outcome.
Amazing.
And again, like what you highlighted there is that it all stemmed from you feeling out of control, which insinuates then that you want to be in control. And so if you're in control, everything's okay. But as soon as you lose control, everything goes to shit, basically. And the irony of it all is that, actually once you feel in control, you can let go of control. This is where it's like so funny. Let me just back up a minute, because so you wanted to feel, you felt out of control, right? Okay. So the problem which I see with most people that I'm working with is that whether they know or not that they have control issues, or that their issues are stemming from control, what the main problem that I see is that people are trying to control their external reality. So again, this is conversations that we've had before, but we're doing it in this context now because there's not much to know about this stuff. It's all the same stuff. It's just learning to apply it into different parts of your life, isn't it? And it's switching your whole mindset to just look at everything from a different point of view, and this is the point of view, right? So like I said, where you guys listening are probably now, for the most part or subconsciously, is that you are trying to hold on to control, but you're trying to hold on to control of your external reality, which means other people, situations in life, even down to like physical things, material things, you know, everything that is outside of you. And if you are doing that, you are always going to lose control. You are always going to feel out of control because you can't control that stuff.
No.
See our other podcast episodes as to why. But you can't.
No.
The only thing you can control is your own reactions to what is coming at you from life. Right? That's the only thing you can control. And what you did there in that moment was you realized, I'm feeling like I'm not in control. And now I can't do anything right now. I can't get him, the external, he's not making me feel better. But okay, I can't get him to do that for me.
No.
I don't understand about what's going on in terms of the money and the financial stuff, the credit cards, the technology. So you can't control that.
No.
And so then what you did, because of all your work and because you're so aware, is you went, right, how can I control me? And that is the answer to everything. And as you saw very quickly, that's when everything changed. Because it is what you did in that moment, in that split second moment, your thoughts were like and what you came down to was, okay, so I want to feel calm. I have to do that for myself. How do I do that? Take a breath. You saw the lighthouse, you visualized, and I think this is actually really important to highlight here, right? What you did to bring on your calm was you focused on sharing that with other people. Didn't you? You weren't just like, I want to be calm for me.
No.
I want to be calm for everyone.
Exactly.
And then you were able to do that visualization, and look what you did. And by doing that, you also calmed yourself, because if you want to calm other people, you have to be the calm yourself, don't you?
It.
And I think this is a really, really important understanding to have.
Honestly.
You have to think of it. Okay, this is going to sound really cheesy. And like, I'm going to give you the cheese. Because it's true. It has to come from love, and it has to come from sharing that with others, from thinking of other people. And again, everything's so paradoxical, right, in this world, because we're talking about, you know, being a control freak, but actually you have to control yourself. So that's like, you know, that's a paradox here. And we're also all the time talking about how we have to stop thinking about other people and other people's feelings and feeling responsible for other people's emotions and stop people pleasing. But at the same time, we're also saying, but you actually do have to think about other people as well when you share. So it's such a paradox, but it's very nuanced. And with this, you're not thinking, the difference is you're not thinking, I have to calm Ian down because otherwise I'm not going to feel calm. You're not thinking, oh my God, I have to calm him down, otherwise we're going to have an argument.
Right.
It's not coming from fear.
No.
That was coming from love.
Yes.
That's the difference.
Yes. Because that's so true. That is the difference right there.
Because I'm sure you can think of other times in the past, other arguments where you're stuck in that behavioural pattern that you guys play out over and over again. The same argument, the same way he behaves, you behave, the same outcome all the time. We all know what those patterns are with people in our lives.
Yeah.
But before, you would have been coming from your fears, your fear of rejection, maybe, like your fear of conflict, like, oh, I'm going to have to do this and create calm, because if I don't do that, it's that he's going to kick off. And I'm not saying this is really what happened with you and Ian, I'm just giving an example. If I don't do that, he's going to get agitated and anxious, and then he's going to get angry, and then that's going to make me feel bad, and then it's going to upset the kids. And so then you placate, you try and calm him down at the detriment to yourself. So you're giving from yourself to him. That doesn't work. Whereas what you did in that event, you still did the same thing. You still calmed him down.
That's right.
But you weren't doing it from a place of talking about, like, energetically, you know, our energetic vampires and stuff last episode. You weren't doing it from that. You were doing it from a place of, you are the calm.
Yes. That's literally what I was saying. Yeah.
And so because you are the calm, you then share it out to everyone else. But you are directly benefiting from it as well. And it's not from a place of fear. It's from a place of love. And that's the difference.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
It's so nuanced, isn't it? It's the same. It's almost like we're telling you not to do it, but do it.
Yeah.
But it's from a different perspective. It's from a different way. And I think that's really important to...
Yeah. And I think that's why, if you can just go to yourself, don't blame the other person. Don't go to the external. Think about what you want first, and then be that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that didn't someone say that, be the change you wish to see?
Oh yeah,
that someone said. I don't know who it was that said that, but it's true. Is it the Buddha? I think it might be Buddha. Oh, be the change you wish to see. Might be Buddha. I'm not sure. But it is so true.
Yeah,
you have to be it, and then when you be it, you can't help but radiate it out to other people, and it's so powerful.
Oh, it's amazing.
Like you saw.
Yeah, I felt like a wizard.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, it was amazing. And it's so fun, isn't it? It's so fun. You have. Look what you can create.
Honestly, it was one of the game changers with me at work, with the work that I do. When I realised I just have to be that light, I have to be that positive energy, and just exude what I know to be true, which is that person sat in front of me that I'm working with is incredible, is full of limitless potential, and has the whole world at their fingertips. I just exude that when I sit down, and just as you transferred over that calm to Ian, I transfer over that belief, that power to my clients, and it works. And like you said, you feel like you're a wizard or a witch, but it in the best way, because you know that they're benefiting from it in such an awesome, amazing way.
Yeah.
And that's a really big step to understanding your power as a creator and who your energy is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds harsh, doesn't it, when you call someone a control freak. It's like said it in a negative way, and I think a lot of these words put us off ever considering ourselves that. Like we said, the word selfish, didn't we? It's such a bad word, or so we think. And yet really what we should be being is selfish. But it's like reframing that, isn't it?
And you bring up such a good point there. I love that, because it is that these words have such power, control freak, that you, like you said, it makes people not want to look into it. And it's so true, because that's the shadow work. That's the work where, so it's very easy for us to see, like, you know, on the surface we can admit, I try and control things a little bit too much, or I know I'm a people pleaser, That's like easy stuff. But nobody wants to go in and say, look at themselves and say, oh my gosh, I'm a control freak. Oh yes, I actually I can be really judgmental sometimes. You don't, because these words have weight to them, don't they? We don't want to look at it. But as soon as we can just dismantle that and just say, no, we're all control freaks, but don't worry about it, just then it feels safe to dip your toe in and think, oh, maybe I am. Right. And then it opens up a whole new world to you, and you see yourself from a different angle.
You're much kinder to yourself.
You can have compassion, because you're like, okay, it's okay that I feel like that, but I choose not to be. I don't want to be like that. So now how can I change it? But if you won't look at it, if you won't look at your shadow parts, you're never going to change it, and it's always going to be there. So I suppose now, with all that being said and that example, it's like we want to talk about now then, well, how do you listening see yourself, see that shadow part of yourself? How can you start digging a little bit deeper so that you can start identifying that it's there, one, and then start changing it? And I think what's real, we had this conversation when you first brought this up in the woods, wasn't it? Like, we are all trying to control to a certain extent, depending on how much work you've done, what your subconscious programming is, what your childhood trauma was. We're all trying to control, because at the end of the day, let's change, talking about reframes in these like loaded words, control feels really horrible, really oppressive, really like, oh, negative, I don't want that. But actually, let's just change control to protect.
Yes.
So you are, when you are trying to control things, you are trying to protect yourself.
Yes.
Your subconscious is trying to protect itself. And this is the difference. Like, the stuff that you can say, oh no, I know I'm a bit of a control freak in that way. That's not a subconscious protection mechanism. The ones that you can't see, these subconscious ones, are very, very deep protective mechanism that you've learned to put in place at some point because of whatever's happened to you. But inevitably, and this is what we were talking about, as I said to you, isn't it, before, this is a complete survival mechanism coming back from us being animals and the, you know, like evolution again. In a complete animalistic way, we fear death. Everything, all of our control, like I said at the beginning, comes down to fear. And though there are different fears in that, fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of judgment, you know, there's loads of different limiting beliefs at play here, or fears. But they will always come back down to, I fear for my survival, which equals I fear death. So there's so many things that you could be doing something so silly, seemingly silly, and think, why am I doing that? But ultimately you'll trace it back down, and it's because, well, if I don't do this, I will die. I won't survive. And everybody has that, because you're a human being. So you're going to absolutely have that to some extent. And when you can acknowledge that, it's a really huge step, because you can, it seems like such a massive jump, doesn't it? It seems like such a massive jump to go from, well, I'm trying to control my husband going out for a meal with his mates, because I don't want him to do that. So now I'm trying to control him by saying, well, what time are you going to be home? But you know, if you can think back and go, why am I trying to control him doing that? At some point you're more than likely going to be able to trace it back to, because if this happens, I won't survive.
I bet.
And so then how do we start working on that? Well, this is where you have to pick out the smaller beliefs, because there are obviously smaller beliefs involved in that. And this is why I love doing this work with my clients, because it is like a detective. We start peeling back these minor beliefs, you know, but then overall we can work on, well, let's not fear death. Let's not fear death, because death is inevitable. Death is going to come to us all, right? But until that point, we can say, is that going to cause us to die? No.
And another word that would be nice to reframe is death.
Yes.
If you want to go there.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other can of worms.
But again, it's such a harsh.
Yes.
But,
transition.
I don't like to say death can be beautiful, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get into the spiritual world, that's on a tangent.
That is it's very much related. Yeah. Because you have to address that. You have to start thinking that. Yeah. Before you can really work on the whole being okay with death.
That's right.
Because again, you had a fear of death, didn't you? And then we did your past life session, and there was the things that happened where you then came out of that learning to not fear death.
Yeah.
But you had to accept that death wasn't the end. You had to see what you saw in that life and experience what you experienced in the regression to be able to feel that way.
And honestly, when you drop a fear, obviously you've already always got this sort of like thing of protection. You don't want to walk out into the middle of the road and get hit by a car. But once you can drop that real deep fear of dying or someone else dying, you can honestly start living, can't you? It just opens you up.
Absolutely.
It's so helpful.
Yeah.
That really does hold you back, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Once you can see that there's more beyond that, that's not the end, which is where we all started, wasn't it? This is where it, it was lighting us up because we were understanding the spiritual world and how it's not the end, and death doesn't have to be a hideous thing that happens to you, and you can turn it around. Going off on one again, but it's such a relief when you can let go of that fear.
It is. And so I guess there's two parts to this. Again, trying to give actionable steps for people to take once they've realised, is that what's going on? It's like, one, we have to try and reframe this image we have of death and this belief we have around death being that's it, that's the end, and it's like awful, and all the stuff that comes with that. But also it is about having that awareness that on a subconscious level, and again, what I mean by a subconscious level is, I keep repeating this, but it's because the word gets thrown around, but you need to understand the concept is subconscious is below your awareness. Right. So you're not consciously thinking this. Obviously, you know that if your husband's going out to dinner, and you're trying to control what time he comes back and dinner, consciously that you're not fearing that your fear of survival is there. You're worried about your survival. Yeah. But knowing that on a subconscious level, potentially your subconscious mind is going, well, if that happens, then I risk my survival.
A lot deeper, isn't it?
It's much deeper. But when you can understand that, or at least have an awareness of that, you can then bargain with yourself. Yes. You can tell your subconscious mind, or tell yourself, though you're not thinking it consciously, if you're aware that that's going on a subconscious level, you can say, hey, chill out. Yeah. No one's dying here. Yeah. Your safety is not in peril, it's not at risk. This is just stand down. Yeah, because it seems so silly, but honestly, this is what is going on. Yeah, on a subconscious level. I don't know whether anyone can relate to that scenario. This isn't something from my personal life because I've never had that issue, but I know I've worked with clients who have. Yeah, where they've got problems in their relationship because they are trying to control. Yes. That's effectively what they're trying to do. So it comes out as controlling behavior, and their partners might think they're being controlling, but it is actually stemming from these fears. So you have to be able to say to yourself, it's what is my deepest fear here? What is my deepest fear? If my husband goes out and I don't know what time he's coming home, where am I feeling? What am I fearing there? And then dig deeper, and then dig deeper. And those feelings that you're feeling in your body, like the nervous tummy, the chest, the anxiety, that is your body and your subconscious mind telling you on that subconscious level that you're not aware of in your mind, in your thoughts. Yeah. It is fearing that something devastating to you is going to happen, because it is just protection. Control is protection. So what is this controlling behavior? trying to protect me from?
Yeah.
This is a really good tool to have in your toolbox once again.
So good.
Because again, you cannot control, you can try, but you'll lose your relationship.
Yeah.
You cannot control your husband when he goes out and what time he's coming back.
No.
And I'm sure you don't want to.
No.
I'm sure that you don't want to do it. You can't help it. And you can't control him. And if you do, it's going to be at the detriment to you and your relationship. So again, how can you control yourself?
Yes.
And this is the questions you ask. Get curious. Why? What is my ultimate fear?
Yeah.
Now, you might find it doesn't go down to, oh, it's my fear of death. It's my fear of survival. But your subconscious is feeling like it is. Your body is feeling like it is, which is in turn creating your behaviors and making your mind think the thoughts that it's thinking. And then you're behaving the way you're behaving. So just question yourself and say, where is my deepest fear here?
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that I think can happen?
Yeah.
Because I know, another example, which I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate with, is when I was really trying to work on kind of like my money stuff. And also it was linked in with my relationship too, with my marriage. It was a whole big mess of things. But actually what I realised was when I was having these kind of like this anxiety feeling, and it was causing behaviours that I didn't want in my work. It was stopping me. It was causing procrastination in my work. It was causing me anxiety. It was causing me that I couldn't actually sit down and chill out and watch telly because I was constantly thinking that I should be posting, I should be doing this, and I had all this kind of fear. And I'm like, what is going on here? Where is this? And when I actually clawed down to it and I did the same thing, where is this fear coming from? I was like, right, okay, procrastination, work. And then I got it down to, you know, I'm worried that I'm not going to earn enough money. You know, back then I fear that if I don't earn enough money and I don't contribute enough to my relationship, it's going to cause a problem in my relationship. Okay, right. How do we go deeper then again? I fear that if my relationship breaks up and I don't earn enough money, I'm not going to survive.
Yeah.
There it was. So my procrastination at work, you know,
which
and my anxiety, I managed to track it down to, oh my God, I'm sat here not being able to watch telly thinking about my work because I'm worried about my survival.
Yeah.
Which when you see it like that, you're like, oh my God, that's so ludicrous. That's ridiculous. Yeah. I am not going to not survive. I am safe. Yeah. And here again is where knowledge, looking at your shadow, being willing to ask those questions and dig down to your deeper fears, gives you the ability to then say, well, that's ridiculous. I can see that's so silly. And then you can do the things that you can calm your nervous system. So like you did, you know, you brought in the calm. You stopped, you took a minute, you were breathing, and then you did your visualization. So then you could do that in that situation. Say with me, when I'm trying to watch telly and and like feel like my heart's beating out of my chest because I'm thinking, oh God, I've got to go and do some work, but I don't know what work to do. And now like I'm never going to do anything. Yeah. So in that moment, I can then take a step back, breathe, and just say to my body, you are safe. Yeah. We are safe.
And you find you need to feel it as well. You know, that anxiety in your body, which you always taught me, feel it, don't push it down. So feel it, and then you can release it. Like you say, when you tell yourself, well, this is silly, you don't need to do this, you can be calm, but still feel that you feel it in the pit of your stomach, can't you? And you're like, okay, so you need to push that out and get that gone instead of just trying to mask over it by ignoring it or distracting yourself.
Well, because you're not getting down to the root, you're never going to fix it. It's going to stay there. Yeah. And this is what I'm saying.
You don't want it in there, do you? So you don't want it in your body either.
No.
Get rid of it.
That's it. And again, so all of that, just another example to show you that you can pretty much track all of your unwanted behaviours. So whatever that is. So we've given you an example. You said you were getting stressed and anxious over technology, basically. Yeah. I've given you another example about trying to control. You don't want your partner to go out, and your control comes in from when you're going to be back, what time you're going to checking their text messages, or checking where they are, why are they not back yet, texting, right? So that's another form. And then another one with me, procrastination at work. It goes for everything. Everything. If you can look at it and see, the control, and then turn it to how am I trying to protect myself? You can do things to counteract that in the way that we've just said, right? So then that's very specific, but let's take it then one step further. In general, what do you want to do then? What is the ideal? What's the goal? The goal is to relinquish all control.
Yes.
Because what you realize when you start getting control of yourself, which is what we've just spoken about, with all those examples, you're taking control of yourself. Then once you realize how to take control of yourself, you can then realize you have to simply let go of all control. And that's the next step.
And trust.
And then it goes into trust. And then this is when you want to start working on your belief systems. Because it's almost like you have to do that first part first. You have to remove those old beliefs before you can put new beliefs on top of it. Because it's really hard, if you think about it, to try and start putting new beliefs on about trust and trust in the universe and everything's working out okay. If you're trying to put it on top of those other beliefs that are going, no, but I have fear of survival and I'm not safe and I fear rejection and detest. So you have to kind of weed out those old ones first. That is the journey. And this is the work that obviously I do. But then the next step of the work that I do is then putting in these new beliefs, which we're definitely not taught growing up.
No.
Most of us, unfortunately are not taught this growing up, which is life gets to be easy. Trust the universe. Everything is always working out for me. No matter what happens, I am always safe. This is a massive one, and this is something that I'm really working on a lot. We did the feeling the safety episode last podcast. It's fundamental to having this view of life where you can just kind of go through life just trusting that everything's going to be all right. You also need to have, or it really, really helps to have, some kind of belief in the unseen world. Which is why we wanted to do this podcast as well, because we don't just want to talk about all the kind of limiting beliefs and the subconscious side of it, because it really, really helps if you do have this belief in the unseen world.
It really does.
Because when you're trying to install a belief of, well, the universe is always looking out for you, if you're coming from a belief that there are unseen forces, and there's guides and energies or whatever trying to help you, it's much easier to solidify that belief than if you're coming at it from a place of they're not there. And then what? That's so right. I just have to trust the universe. What is the universe?
Exactly.
It's like, how do you do that? Now, don't get me wrong. You can still program that into your subconscious, but it's going to be a damn sight easier and quicker if you can start opening your mind to the fact that there are unseen forces, beings here to help you. And that is the next step. Because then you relinquish all control. So you have control over your own actions. But then for everything else, you just relinquish control. You don't try and make things happen. You trust that the universe is taking you exactly where you need to go. But also, not just the universe, you're also trusting yourself, because you work on building up your intuition and trusting your gut and listening to your body, and know that mixed with the universe guiding you and these unseen forces helping you is going to take you exactly where you need to go. And it's never going to be the route that you think, but it's going to get you there. And it's almost like what you have to do is imagine like yourself on a river, and you're on a rowboat and you've got the oars and you're kind of like trying to row against the current. You've almost got to imagine just letting go of those oars, letting the boat turn around, and then going with the current, going with the flow, and trusting like that flow, that river, that's the universe, and it's guiding you exactly where you need to go. And this is how life gets to be breezy. Life gets to feel easy. And again, it's not to say that bad things or tough things won't happen, but you're not in that constant struggle mode. You, whilst you're on the journey, it's very, very easy. It's very flowy, and it becomes magical because when you release control, you let the universe do its thing. And the universe works in incredible, mysterious ways. And again, I'm sure you've all had instances where you're like, that was just weird. I was in the right place at the right time, and this opportunity came up, or whatever, any of your little synchronicities. That's the universe. And you can only get the benefit, the full benefit of them, if you relinquish control.
Yes.
Because when you're trying to control, it's like on that rowboat, you've got your hand on those oars and you are like, right, well, I have to go down that path, you know, say that the river forks and there's one that's kind of like veering off and it's a bit craggy, and then there's one that looks kind of straight, and you're going to go, well, I'm going down that straight one because I know that that's going to be the easiest. That just makes sense. That's going to be the easiest one for me, so I'm going to go down there. And you don't even see the fork in the road where there's this craggy one because you're just so close-minded and trying to control that craggy path over there. There's so many magical opportunities. It's going to get you there quicker. But, you know, you can't do that if you're trying to control things. And this is why we wanted to talk about control, isn't it? Because, one, when you realise that you are much more of a control freak than you realise, it can give you a choice to, in those small instances, to let go and not to try and control and force the external, and then either control yourself. And then also it allows you to make your life easier by trusting the universe and trusting that everything is always working out for you. Everything's working out in perfect timing, and that you're always going to get to be like where you're supposed to be. If you have that inner trust that what's meant for you is always going to find you, and you're always going to be exactly where you need to be, trust me, you will, because you will take those, and it will be magical journey getting there. It will be fun, it will be breezy, it will be easy. It's or you can try and control it, and don't get me wrong, you probably still will get there, but it's going to be hard work.
And
it's going to be stressful. You're going to miss loads of magical opportunities.
And it doesn't have to be that way, does it?
It doesn't have to be that way. And it all starts with realizing that in all of those unwanted behaviors, those patterns of behavior that you're in, all the things that seem to keep happening to you, and you're like, why does this keep happening to me? Look at it and see where you are trying to control. Where am I trying to control? But let's change the word control to protect, because that makes it softer for you to have a look into. And so where are you trying to protect yourself, and where is that fear stemming from? Take it back as far as you can, so that you can feel how outrageous it is, you know, and then tell yourself otherwise, and then start thinking about how life can really just be easy when you trust the universe. Start looking into things, you know, that will help you build that belief that the universe is on your side, and that there are unseen forces trying to help you. And you will start seeing the synchronicities, and you will start seeing things happen to you, and that you are in the right place at the right time, or you'll overhear a conversation that you were supposed to hear, which gives you the answer to your next question. Try, everything becomes easier when you're just open and aware, and not trying to control every movement, every step of your life. Let go of those oars, let your boat turn around, and just float gently down the river while enjoying the ride.
I love that. I'm there.
It's just, it gets, and again, I just want to say before we finish, like, it's not the principle is easy, but to do it, it's not easy. No. It's hard, and you have to keep trying. And we can sit here and tell you this and give you our examples, and yet we'll still have times where I'm like, I'm trying to control it again. Stop it. Let go of those walls. Right. Let go. Don't do that.
It's been years of doing the same, repeating the same patterns over and over. You don't just get there, do you?
No, you don't.
But once the light bulb goes on and you start experimenting with these things, just like, honestly, isn't it? It's just give it a go and see. Because I really did look at that situation like, okay, then, well, let's see if my behaviour can change a whole situation. And it's so fun to watch before your very eyes. And you don't have to do anything apart from, like you said, basically lead with love and be what you want in that moment. Because no one else is going to give it to you.
No. And it really is, if you can get into that love part, it also helps you dismantle the anger and the frustration you have towards that other person. Because that's not going to help you. Again, let's talk about you being in control of yourself. If you're feeling all those ways about that other person, how is that helping you to control your inner peace? It is not. So when you come from love and like, how can I make both of us feel happy and good in this situation?
I think we lose sight of the other person, don't we?
Yeah, because
a lot of the time
they're doing it to us.
That's right. Not, well, hang on, look, they're anxious too. This is why we're doing this to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, you poor soul.
Yeah.
You're feeling it too.
Yeah.
Maybe I can be the one to change it. I mean, amazing. Yeah. The power.
And it's, I've had that exact same scenario, not about technology, but it was about something else with me and Chris. And we were both, and then I was just like, oh, no, we're both feeling like this. I want us both to feel calm. I want us both to feel happy. And I did the same thing and I had the same response. So I can also say that this does work. And like you said, you feel like a wizard.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, can it actually be this easy?
Yes.
Yes, it can.
Yes.
But you do have to you can't pretend to want to like let them, you can't pretend to have that life. You have to genuinely drop everything and just be in that space of, I see them. Doesn't matter how much they're pressing me off, I'm pressing my buttons. I see that they're coming from pain or coming from fear,
having
or coming from anxiety too.
Yes, the same as you are. They're feeling the same as you. So how can you expect that person to make you feel better?
Yeah. How can and also I think, and then we'll end it here. But I just think for everybody listening, everyone who listens to this podcast, they're carers, they're healers. I truly believe you guys are all here to spread your light to other people, and I'm sure you are that person in your life to other people. I'm sure you are. And if I can say anything, it's like lean into that. Remember and remind yourself every day that you are here. If you do nothing else, if you achieve nothing else, do nothing else, you are here to be that light for other people. And sometimes it's tough for you to remember that because you're a human as well. But something tells me that deep down within you, you know this and you feel that, and to remember it, because that's what you're here for, and that's how you change the world around you. Like, you can directly affect all your close-knit people, but don't forget about the butterfly effect, the far-reaching consequences you have of even just helping that small circle around you. So whenever you can, whenever you're in tough situations where you're feeling your control/protection come in, remind yourself you are the light, and how can you be that light for others? How can you spread that light for others? And then that will really, really help you, because it will come naturally to you. I guarantee you it will come so naturally. That's how you switch to love, because it's in you. And so how can I spread my light to other people? All that anger, all that frustration will, if not disappear, dull down, so that you can focus on just spreading that and watch how the other person, it's like it dismantles all the walls, all the barriers up around that person, all that fear, and your love will spread to them. And it will,
they can't ignore it.
You can't. It's on an energetic level, and subconsciously as well. Like, subconsciously your energy changes, and those triggers, those trauma bonds that are between you will break, because you have broken it. You be the one to break it. Always. Amazing. You are in control, and then you will realize how powerful you are. And you guys are the ones, the new leaders, the ones that have to come up and do things a different way. Like, the old masculine power authority is out, it's leaving, it's going, it's not working anymore. The new power is with this love, and it's not soppy. It's not like love. No, it's realizing that you are the love, you are the light, and you are here to shine it unapologetically, whilst also being in control of yourself, putting yourself first, because that's the problem with people like us, the carers, the people that bring the light. We don't shine it for ourselves. We deplete ourselves for it.
Yeah.
No, you are the light. You have to look after yourself, and then you get to spread it, and that's what you get to do.
Yeah.
And just go out there and do it. And you will be the new leaders. You're the ones that are going to change things.
Yeah.
Just watch.
Yeah.
Just watch, you will.
Shine bright. Oh,
shine bright like a diamond. Okay. Right. On that note, we're going
from Boogie.
We've had our little grooves. We got to go now. All right, lovely people. Come tell us in the group about your, like, whether you've been like, ooh, yes, I see my inner control freak.
Yes.
Let's expose it. Let's expose ourselves.
Let's release.
Our control. Yeah. Let it go.
I don't want it.
No, because, and if you share it in the group, like your examples, oh yeah, I see where this control, this is control now. This is what I do. Other people might be like, oh, I do that. Thank you. Exactly. Now I see my control as well. Let's turn the word control into a positive. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. If you're a control freak, if you're controlling, if you've ever been called controlling, if you think you're controlling, you're not, you're protecting, but you don't need the protection because you can look after yourself. You're in control of yourself.
Yes. Namaste.
We need to go now. All right, guys. See you later.
Bye.